my grad student dragons. Welcome to our lecture on actually getting down to the nitty-gritty of what we'll be doing this semester. I was hoping to be in person tomorrow, but my test came out negative and the university is having an overabundance of a caution and making me fill my 2-week quarantine in addition to the negative test. But oh well, better safe than sorry, I guess. So I do want to start with ethics, okay? Because you're going to be doing a class project. This is what it's called. It's a class project. It's not a research experiment or anything like that. It's a class project on how you're going to learn ethics. So to do that, you have to work with human subjects. And you should have enough subjects with all my classes. They all want to do it. I'm being generous with extra credit for them, for you. So there's a way to do that and learn assessment as well. So I'm going to put this PowerPoint up there for you, but we're going to go through it. And I have other things that I'm going to put up before the 12th, of course, because I don't want us to fall behind. We have a lot of tools to use and to learn. So this is a class project, but you have to be really, really careful with what you're doing because you're essentially doing, well, learning psych valves that you're going to perform on students. You're going to have a consent form, so we're going to have to talk about making a consent form, and you're going to have to take great care with them, okay? I hope they just think it's like, you know, another extra credit thing and whatever, but you have to realize that you are in the late stages of your graduate program, so you have to be very careful, and I expect you to be the professionals that I know that you are with this, and so you have to be really careful. Remember that you are representing Tiffin University Graduate School, and this has a lot of ramification for Tiffin University and our actions as a department, as a school, the program, and of course me overseeing what you're doing, and then of course the future of the field. So do not take this lightly. It is important that you do this as professionally as possible. Okay, so you have to have the highest ethical standards. I'm going to give you at the end of this PowerPoint, you have to sign a agreement and give it to me on the 12th, okay, before you even start doing things. So you have to be very careful with your volunteers, extreme careful, okay? So for the most part, they're going to be, they're going to be undergrads, okay? You can use family members if you want. This is the point of the program where I tell you, you can use family members, but I don't know that you'll want to. I don't know that you'll want to know all those things about your family, okay? So at least with undergrads or people that you don't know, it's just, strangers, and you'll never see them again, and you're just doing your project and you're getting your project done, okay? But your family, if you do it with your family, they might say something, and then, you'll know that forever. So I try and tell people to not do their family. People should leave feeling better about themselves than they did when they came in, okay? So again, like the Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm. That's very important. Don't harm anybody in this class. Okay, so they should feel better about themselves. If you're working someplace, you can ask volunteers from your work, if your work will let you do that. Or if you say, hey, we're going to meet and have a picnic or something, and if you want to do this, that's fine. I expect you to socially distant and wear a mask. And same thing with the participants. You have to make that clear to them. You should maybe even put it in your consent form that you will be following CDC guidelines and that they should socially distance themselves, okay? So that's important. So you must act in accordance with the APA standards as well, the Assessment Association and the Board of Forensic Examiners, all of those things. And if you have any question about what are their ethical standards, you can find their ethical standards online, okay? So your clients have volunteers. You have to give them a full consent on the consent form. They have the right to know everything that you're going to do, the tests you're going to do, that they volunteer. They have to sign that they volunteer. You better hold on to that. So you have to make sure that you're doing that. And they have the right to quit at any time if it gets too intense. And you should also make sure that they understand fully that you're going to use a pseudonym so their participation is completely anonymous. No one will know who they are. Not even you. I mean, you're going to give them pseudonyms, and you can give them any pseudonyms you want. You can give them Star Wars characters, or someone did Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs once, or, any kind of pseudonym you want. But you have to assure them that nobody's going to know about this. Nobody's going to be associating their names with their results of their psych evals or anything like that. And you should also tell them that you are a student. Okay? They should not feel like, you're a licensed clinician and that you're going to read their minds or things like that. And people have a tendency to feel that way, like, oh my God, now you're going to know all my secrets. Please explain to them that you're just learning. You're just a student. You don't know what any of this means, and that's why you're doing it, because you're going to find out in general terms when someone scores this type of score, this is what it means generally. You're not going to do anything that will blow their cover, okay? If someone scores on let's say you decide to give them a depression scale or a substance abuse scale or something like that, and you have results that are concerning, then and only then should you make note of it and call me, okay? Don't handle it on your own. Don't do anything of that nature. If someone is so depressed and they admit like they're suicidal or something like that, you must call me, okay? And we will get them to the appropriate places. This is why you have to be very careful on who you select as well, because, it can be really important, okay? So you have to make sure that they know that what you're doing is not going to be misused or revealed to anyone for any nefarious purpose, okay? So you're going to be looking for, what you're going to do is, ordinarily we do, 2 people get 4, 2 people get 3, 2 people get 2, 2 people get 1, psych eval. But because it's COVID and Rona is really being unreasonable, we're going to do 1, 1, 1, 1 instead, okay? So it's going to substantially cut down on your load. You can do more if you like. Sometimes people will get a psychological assessment and they love it and they want to use it more often. I warn you against that, because while that is really enticing for you, you have to learn all of them, or as many as you can. So you can save the ones that you're in love with for later, okay? You'll have it in your toolbox. You'll always know that it's there, and then you'll know how to use it. But the point is for you to learn about all the different ones too. And you're going to get a lot of them, a lot. You cannot use minors in this course. So you cannot do psych evals. Even if the parent gives permission, you cannot do psych evals on a minor. So I just want that to be really clear. If you find out that a student who's volunteering somehow gets through, is a CCP or a high school student, 17 years old, not eligible. So you cannot use them, and that's very important, okay? That's a trip to the F zone, and you don't want to be there, okay? So you'll also be looking, why are you doing this? You're comparing not only individuals that are going to get 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, or 4 tests, you're also looking at the types of individuals you're comparing. You're looking at the types of tests you're using. I'll be looking at to see what kind of tests you're selecting for the people that you're using, okay? And you're also going to compare, is it better to use 4 tests versus 3 tests versus 2 tests versus 1 test? One of the things we run into in professional practice is you'll go to an agency and they're heavily relying on 1 assessment. Usually it's MMPI. Or 2 assessments, and they think that 1 or 2 assessments, one size fits all. And there are so many really good assessments that are out there. You're going to get a whole bunch of them, and you'll see that. Some of them I'll talk about them, but you won't be able to use. Like some of the ones that are for minors, for instance. There's the one for juvenile substance abuse and juvenile trauma. You won't be able to use any of the trauma ones. So if you get someone and you're talking and you've selected, oh, they look depressed, or they have indicated in your initial assessment, we'll talk about initial assessment in a minute, that they have mild depression or something like that, and then you find out that they had a trauma, the natural thing for you to do would be to give them one of the many trauma scales that you're going to get. But because of the nature of the trauma, I think we don't want to go there during this class. So you'll have the trauma scales, you'll know how to use them, how to score them, but we're going to try and do, again, this is just to learn, to begin to learn the basics, the different tests that are out there and things like that. So I don't want you to get into the situation where someone indicates that they may have had a trauma, and then you say, okay, I'm going to give them their trauma assessment, and then you find out, like last week, they were raped. Okay, so that would be too intense, and we don't want to do that. We just want to do some very basic kind of tests that they might enjoy doing, that you might enjoy giving, that you can get some information enough to write a report. We're going to talk about the report writing too. So I will give you an intake form that you're going to use that will look at demographics, past clinical history if there is one, and just different types of behavioral things that you have to give to every individual that you're going to assess, so that you can see things like, oh, they have a big family, maybe they want to do there's a bunch of different family assessments, or they indicated that they're having troubles in their marriage, we have some of those. Or they indicate that, they had 15 speeding tickets or something like that. And we have some driving assessments. They're long though. But anyway, you'll enjoy some of those. There's going to be so many, okay? So there's another type of assessment that you have to know. So there's standalone tests, and then there are ancillaries, okay? 4 ancillaries make a standalone test. So you could do one test you could do 3 tests that are standalones, and then you could do 4 ancillaries on the same person. And the 4 ancillaries, the ancillaries are all over the place. We have all kinds of, we have stress ones, we have body image ones, we have, I don't know, there's a whole bunch of ancillaries. So you can look through those and say, okay, I think I'm going to do for one of my standalones, I'm going to do a group of ancillaries. Ancillaries are good because if you do a variety of different ancillaries and you say, okay, I'm going to do the domestic violence projective ancillary, it gives you a lead-in to a follow-up test that might be more comprehensive, okay? So that's what we use ancillary type tests for. And this class will give you a good idea of why you need to know statistics and research, because you will see how they all come together, and statistics and research are very important, okay? So, especially when it comes to scoring, okay? And you don't realize it now, but you do know how to score. A lot of times students will be in class and they go, oh my God, there's no scoring key. It's in your head. You were taught it in research. You just don't remember or don't realize that that's what that technique in research was for, or that's what that statistical technique was for. So that's really cool. You also want to make sure that you don't talk over the client's level. So every field has their own terminology, okay? So you don't want to inundate them with abbreviations and different types of terminology. You don't want the tool or your interaction with them to be either condescending or over their head. So sometimes you have to break it down into a way that they can understand. This is especially true for someone with head injury, developmental disability, or something like that. Someone who didn't have much education and they're not very articulate. Remember that you're master's level people, so you have to kind of meet people where they are all the time. Okay, I'm going to stop it here and then I'll continue in video 2. Hang on.